All right. Well, welcome everyone to our show tonight. We are super excited about episode 4 of The Baby's Ask a Black Man, presented by HBCU Lounge Network. And we have three special guests, three wonderful Black men. And I'd like to go ahead and introduce them. We have Roy, firefighter here in Fresno, and we have Reggie, police officer and veteran advocate here out of Fresno by way of Mississippi. And we have another special guest, life coach and relationship coach, Daonn. And we are super excited to have them. And this evening, we will be speaking about gender roles. So I hope you all are as excited as we are here today. And thank you for joining us this evening. And so let's go ahead and get on into it. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And so here with Ask a Black Man, this was put together so that women can, ask these questions and be able to better connect with Black men and understand them on a deeper level. And so we have some questions about gender roles, and we just want to go ahead and tap on into that. And so our first question, well, not when we say first question, but we want to just kind of talk about gender roles and what each of you's viewpoints are on the gender roles. And so I'll go ahead and start with Daonn about gender roles, and let us kind of talk about that, and you can explain what those are.
Okay, so, gender roles I definitely believe in. That's what differentiates, men and women and the position that they hold within a relationship. I do kind of believe that a relationship can work without the gender roles, but I do believe that majority of women would not like that, and more so than men wouldn't like it, because a lot of the gender roles, men, there's more. I believe there's more roles of a man to do that benefits a woman than it is for a woman to benefit a man. Because when we look at gender roles for a woman, it's cooking and cleaning, right? When we look at gender roles for a man, it's providing, protecting, and other certain things, which paying for the first date, opening up her doors. We got house roles, taking out the trash, mowing the lawn, making sure all of the vehicles are maintenance, fixing things around the house. So gender roles for men and women are both important. And I'm not saying one outweighs the other, but I do believe women would not want to take on some of the roles of a man.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, as a woman, I would say that I don't necessarily want to take on any of those roles that would belong to men. I'm like, listen, I'll do all the other stuff. I'll cook, I clean, make sure these kids is together. But I don't want to, do the real heavy lifting or fix the tire if I get a flat. I don't want to be under that. I would like to know how to do it, just in case, survival, but I'm not volunteering to be the man of the relationship. So, so you are definitely right. Well, go ahead, Roy, I want to go ahead and ask you, how do you feel about gender roles? I know we discussed a little bit about that.
Well, yeah, I do agree with what my brother just said. I don't have a problem with that. I think I kind of play, I do both of those roles. Now, if my partner or significant other can't do that, hey, I'm the one stepping in. Okay, if I got to cook dinner, if I got to, do the laundry, I can do it. And I think I do that better than most women. I've been doing this since I was 10, Not to brag, but it's true. I got witnesses. I got family members and family friends that would tell me, what did you cook today?
Yeah.
So, hey, I do it all.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. I think that's good to be able to do both, because as a woman, I think with the gender roles, I guess when it's more so, strict and traditional, and it's like, if I'm, down or tired, you can't change the diaper. That would just kill me. I'm just like, I do it all the time, but if I need a little help, I would like for you to step in. But you have some men who are truly opposed to it. They're like, I'm not changing no diapers. I'm not cooking no meals. I like nothing. Nothing.
I think me personally, I don't think changing the diaper is a gender role.
Right.
It's like, because, I got 2 sons myself, and when they was little, I would change diapers or whatever the case may be. It's just my child. Like, there's no gender role with my child. Like, when me and my ex-wife were together, I would say, hey, whatever you need to do, go. Like, don't think that you have to ask me to keep my own children. It's like, I got very offended with that. I'm like, this is my child. Like, don't ask me nothing. Like, if you got something to do, just tell me. Just tell me, hey, I got such and such to do. And then I'll say, okay, okay, I had something to do too, but go ahead and do your thing. I got the kids. Like, we're gonna go, play some basketball or watch some TV, and then, you don't have to worry about cooking. If you don't got to rush home to cook, we can eat some sandwiches or whatever is in the kitchen. It's like, don't feel like I'm a babysitter.
Right. That's funny that you say that, because I have heard that before. Not really any of the men that I, know or grew up with or anything, but just kind of, hearsay through, internet or just different people talking, and the daddy saying, yes, you want me to babysit. Babysit? These your kids. Like, you can't babysit your children.
I used to feel very offended. This is my child. Like, go do what you need to do. Like, I'm not babysitting my kid. Like, my kid is with me.
I hear you.
Right on.
So, Reggie, what would you like to add to that about gender roles? How do you feel about it?
I mean, let's be honest with each other. 2 words, Kamala Harris, right? I mean, she exemplifies that it ain't what it was. Sisters out here doing what they gotta do, and they're doing what they want to do. That's the biggest difference. My mom just had to raise me and my sister on her own. She did what she had to do. So it's good to be able to see people getting involved so politically, but more than that, so passionate and caring about the community as a whole and even the nation. I think all of that has contributed to this blurring, if you will, of gender roles. And I'm okay with it. I think the more the merrier. I've never tried to date a woman who was interested in staying home. I don't know what that's like, So maybe I'm biased in that sense, but yeah, I think that we're all in the struggle, and we all gotta carry the water as needed.
Yeah. No, agreed. Partnership. I mean, that's what it is. When you get in these relationships or a marriage, it's partnership. And it's funny because I asked my dad, I was talking to my dad about my show, and he was just like, well, what are your thoughts? And I'm like, well, for me, I mean, I'm in leadership through work, I work in HR, and through training, I just always felt like anytime you're in some type of leadership or teaching, that you customize your style. I'm a big advocate of customizing your style and your approach, because you're the one who really needs to be flexible when you're teaching, an audience and trying to help them understand something. You have to be flexible because everyone learns different. And so the same thing with partnership. If you're going to work together on something, you need to understand, like, how do you feel about it? And how do I feel about it? And let's see how we can work together so that the goal is for the house to run smooth, and for us to be creating that healthy environment for our kids and everyone else who has to endure us on the holidays. So yeah. Okay. And so that kind of leads us in. It's the second part to how do you feel about gender roles and what are your expectations of the opposite sex? I'll go ahead and let you take that, Reggie, on what your expectations are of the opposite sex.
I think my expectations have always been the lofty goal of loyalty. And starting young, I had to learn that everybody's not loyal. So it's so much of a godsend that my wife now, very loyal. She really holds loyalty high on her list of, things she's proud of.
Mm-hmm.
I've really enjoyed, getting here was kind of rough, but I've enjoyed not having to be concerned about what my wife may or may not be doing to not reflect her husband in the best light, if you will. I didn't mean to specifically, go towards like cheating or extramarital affairs, but I mean, even in the way she speaks of herself and her family and me, it's always a representation. When you're in a marriage, you represent each other all the time. So I didn't have a lot of success with that until my current wife. So I'm real big on the loyalty part, big time.
Yeah.
Good. And Roy, what about you?
I definitely agree with Reggie with that loyalty part. I mean, that's big. I mean, so if I'm out here doing this for the family, I'm representing in a good way, and I know I don't have to worry about anything over here because I know she got my back. That is the first thing. Is that is huge to me in a relationship. I had that with my wife, who's passed now, but I do look for that loyalty in a relationship, and I want the whoever my significant other to be that loyal, to have my back, because I got hers 110%.
That's right.
Go beyond.
Sure.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I think that's understandable. It's an easy thing, and a lot of times I think as women we think it's harder because we're I watched The Tale of Two Brains, and it was eye-opening for me because it's very true. A lot of times us women do think that everyone thinks like us. He said, you ask a woman to describe the perfect man and she'll describe a woman, another woman. And I'm like, so yeah. And Daonn, what about yourself, your expectations out of your partner?
My expectations would be, number one, the loyalty and the respect, and then love. So I have to have those three things. The loyalty, they both explained, and the respect, I just have to be with a woman that respects me. Because if a woman don't respect you, she's not gonna, give you loyalty.
Excellent point. Excellent point.
And
then a woman can be loyal, not to cut you off, but not respect you.
Yeah. So and then the love as well.
I always thought respect and admiration. What was that, Daonn?
Then I was going to say the love as well. I have to feel like you love me. I have to see it. The way you look at me, the way you melt in my arms when I hug you. I have to feel that love from a woman. And with that love, the respect. Respect, the things that I have going on. Respect what I say. Don't always argue with the things that I want you to do or have you to do, and then be loyal. If I say, hey, don't talk to this person or whatever the case may be, don't go behind my back and talk to them. It's just different things. It's just different, certain scenarios and different things will come up in a relationship where you will know if a person is loyal and respect you.
Yeah. So let's touch on that a little bit before we move on to the next questions about love and respect. what does that look like for you, for all of you gentlemen? Because like I said, there are certain things, women, we think the way we think, we're like, well, as long as I'm not doing this and I'm, being respectful. And a lot of times, I'll hear some men, say, no, she wasn't respecting me. And so we're on two different pages a lot of times. And so let's kind of touch on that. What does love and respect look like? And is that the expectation? Obviously, when you're first meeting, no, not the love part. You're not immediately in love, but respect. So what does that look like? You got all these titles, and some people are like, well, I don't got to do that yet until we're in a relationship or we're married. And it's just like, you can't turn it on like a switch. So what does that look like for y'all? Go ahead, Daonn, you can take it since you had mentioned it.
Well, I know for me with respect, I know a lot of times you know that you're not being respected when you're always being disrespected. So if you, let's just say, for instance, you out in public or something like that, and you ask your woman a question or something like that, and she looks at you and is very argumentative or rolls her eyes at you, and you're in public, you being disrespected by your lady, and being argumentative, disrespecting you in front of friends or family or just in public, period. It's like it's just those certain things that you feel, and then your boundaries as well, especially if you told her, hey, let's not disagree in public, let's not argue in public or whatever the case may be, and she does it anyway. That's disrespecting you, and that's crossing your boundaries. It's like, hey, I said we wasn't going to yell at each other in public or look at each other a certain way, or just whatever your boundaries are. And if your boundaries are being crossed, you're being disrespected.
Yeah.
That sounds like at the beginning of a relationship that you're getting into, where you're starting to fill each other out. Right then, that's red flags going up. This ain't gonna work,
Definitely.
Yeah.
And then sometimes even in in a relationship that's already established, sometimes you'll feel your partner doing something that they ain't usually done before, and it's like, yo, like where this come from?
The pattern
come from. I don't like you doing that. Like, I don't know where this come from, but
and I was just about to say that, had the question been phrased more around what does it feel like, it would have been easier for me to contemplate and come up with an answer after critical thinking, because feelings, maybe that's my learning style. I'm more of a visual learner, more of an amygdalic, learner, or whatever you want to call it. But I know when it feels. I know based on experience what it feels like, without saying a word, without even making eye contact. You just kind of know after being with somebody for so long. When something's amiss, and that's, I know what it's like when it doesn't feel right, and it's hard to express that verbally, but it doesn't feel right. There's something missing. It's something aloof, it's an emptiness between you two. I think that when you really care about someone and when you really are committed to someone, there's almost like a kinetic energy, there's a vibe that, it's undeniable when things are good. You know what I mean? So, and that could look any kind of way, right? That could look like me and my wife never see each other. It could look like nobody ever sees me and only sees her, I mean, it could look a many different ways, but the aesthetics, that ain't what you really care about. What you really are concerned about is how y'all feel about each other, and then the confirmation through verbalization.
Right. It's the non-communication. A lot of times people don't realize that non-communication is the greatest form, because it's happening all the time, and to what you were saying, Daonn, the way that she may speak to you when you're out. And she may not think it's anything, to it, but you feel it, just like what Reggie's saying. You feel it, and that throws things off. And so the energy's off, and it also exposes to other people that there's y'all relationship might be a little rocky. And what I notice, with men, they truly get offended by that because they're like, they may not say it, that's what it is, but that's what they're meaning. It's like you letting other people know that it's rocky. So for those who might know better not to try you, which is trying me, you the man, now they feel like they got a little crack and they can wiggle their way in.
Especially that man that's been waiting on that opportunity.
Exactly.
Believe me, those predators are out there.
Exactly. They just waiting for someone to slip up, especially if they ask you, are you okay? Yeah, you said you're not a man, but are you happy? That's a wrap. If you don't know how to answer that question and he's struggling, then he already know he got to end. And then now you, the man, you got to work harder to not work harder, but kind of like, mark your territory a little bit and pump your chest, like do it if you want to.
That especially goes for social media. I can speak personally that my wife and I pretty much never crossed the social media barriers. We're older. I have been on Facebook since 2007 when I started dating my wife in 2012. And it's just too much to try to clean up. You know what I mean? So we just never followed each other. We never went there, and it's never been a problem. She has a business now and I have a business. So we follow one another's businesses. But as far as our personal stuff, she posts pictures of me when we do stuff. Sometimes I post pictures of her. But to the unknowing eye, they may think that that's that window of opportunity because she's not posting her husband every 5 minutes. Right. We all know those people too.
I mean, it happens with women too. We be investigating. We're like,
he don't never post no ring. There's a really good excuse behind that, but we don't get into it.
Right, but even if you got all these pictures with no. Your hand's not showing. So it's like, I don't see that. And they don't say, the status don't say married. So maybe he is available. I'm gonna shoot my shot. Someone might, think, let me go ahead and try.
Right.
I know that social media thing, that can be big in relationships. And you definitely have to have that uncomfortable conversation about that. because the way you feel about social media can change with the partner you with too.
Yes, sir.
Because you can be in a relationship with one person and feel like, social media means nothing. But it could be because you don't feel something for them as much as if you got into another relationship. Right. All of a sudden, social media matters now. Because you're like, I love this person. This the first person I ever loved like this. Why is social media, a part of it now? It's like, I feel some type of way now. So, but I know my perspective on social media is that, because I post my lady on my page and she posts me on her page, but I don't think it's excessive, because I believe that if two people like each other and they love each other and they going out and they having a great time and they having fun, they're going to post each other. I believe that that's only natural because if a person is posting them having fun with their friends, having fun with their kids, having fun with their family members, but they never post their significant other, it's like, are y'all having fun together?
But that's funny because when you are in a relationship, it's healthy and you guys are enjoying each other, unless you're just private and you don't have anything up. But other than that, if you're out and about and spending the time, it reflects, because if a lot of things that you're doing is spending time with your partner, where, why are they in the pictures? You know what I mean?
Because social media, that's what it's all about. You posting your good times, you posting good pictures, that's what it is. You posting yourself really having a good time. And you posting yourself saying, I like this picture. This was a good looking picture. Let me post it. I had fun. So it's like, how you never post your significant other.
That's kind of questionable.
Especially if you used to all the time. Now all of a sudden,
like if you used to doing that. But if you like quiet on social media and you don't really post, and it's far and in between when you post, then I get it. I was like, oh, they don't never really post no way. But if you active on social media,
all the time,
yeah,
all the time, you got pictures with every would-be rapper and celebrity, but not that picture with you and your baby daddy. I don't know. I don't know what that means.
It's like you want to be single in public, but in a relationship in private. It's like
say that.
It's like
say that.
It's like what you doing? What they call it? I think they call that. I was looking at something maybe a week ago. They was calling it fake single or something like that.
Not fake single. Well,
it's like everybody on social media think you single, but you're in a relationship.
Yeah. The whole time.
That's interesting because, you know, some people may not think that that's a form of disrespect in a way, especially if you spoke about it, or even if you haven't, it may kind of send the wrong message, which changes, you know, the dynamics of your relationship. And, you know, you're thinking, the lady, you know, you're thinking it's good, and all while your man is feeling some kind of way. And, you know, I understand that a lot of times men are not always going to just start talking about, you know, how they feel about something. So, you know, it's like, ladies, you need to tune in and hear what these men are saying. Hear what they're saying.
It's like you have to have these uncomfortable conversations, and
yes, sir.
Social media could be one of them, on top of 100 more.
Okay. Well, I also want to say to the audience, if you guys have questions, please throw them in the chat. I'll be checking it out. That's what I'm doing here, looking down at my phone, to see if there's any questions that you all have for these wonderful Black men. And so we're going to go into, you said, uncomfortable conversations. Let's kind of move towards the next question about career. And do you feel, if your wife has a career, that she's not able to fulfill her wifely and motherly responsibilities or duties? Or do you feel like, I don't want my wife to work, period?
I don't know who got that kind of money. Daonn look like he might have that kind of money. He got the chains on. You know what I mean? He look like he get the teeth whitened every couple weeks.
I just try to stay well groomed. That's all.
Hey, you ain't trying. You looking good, brother.
Appreciate it.
Right on.
I know with the career thing, I think that she can still fulfill her wifely duties and motherly duties. It's just going to be harder, you know, because she's not that stay-at-home mom. She's, you know, a go-getter. So so she just have to make more time to do those wifely things and to do those, you know, motherly things like nurturing and things like that. So that's just going to be added onto, like, her career is just going to be added onto her wifely and motherly duties.
Okay. And that's when we step in.
She can definitely do it.
Yeah, that's when we step in and pick up that slack, and, you know, which allows her to go ahead and get, you know, and make that cheddar. Because if the wife is making more money than I am, and we a team, oh man, shoot, hey, you know what? We're gonna if you got a little bit of knowledge of anything on the stock market or this and that, and say, hey babe, look, let me show you how we're gonna make this work, you know, and let's move on up to the next level. I'm gonna go ahead and pick up where you slacking off at. You know, and that's what a good Black man does. You know.
Yeah. No good Black man.
From the kids all the way to the house note, right?
Definitely.
You got to be flexible.
Definitely.
That kind of reminds me of what I was speaking on earlier, just with, you know, she always have to have her motherly duties, but y'all splitting parenting duties, because the dad has his fatherly duties that he have to do, but everything else that's in the middle, y'all are just parents, and y'all gotta know, like, everything is not on the woman.
Right,
You know, everything is not, like you said, change the diaper, or, you know, having the woman stay up, and if it's a newborn or something like that, and feeding the baby, it's like, okay, now you can get up. Especially if she working. If both of y'all working, it's like, okay, I got up this time, you can get up the next time. It's not all the
50-50.
Yeah,
both of y'all working too.
Yeah.
Ooh, you better get ready.
Now,
Now, now
I like to say 100%, like 100, because you got to give your full self,
Excellent.
especially when you're,
Excellent.
partnering. And of course, we use 50-50 because that's what we've,
No,
heard
no.
and known, all this time. But
To say
really,
it more pointedly,
yeah,
it
but
takes your 100% effort.
yeah, it
and their
does.
100% effort.
Because if you
Yep.
only give them
Well
50%,
stated.
you already kind of struggling.
Well
You're like,
stated. And let me tell you something. I'm 49. I got a 30-year-old, and I was giving about 50% when we were changing them diapers back in the day. I was a young, silly young man. And I played sleep a lot of more.
Well, we have a couple of questions. It looks like here. I think Roy, you got a friend in the comments. He said,
"This will be good."
This question is to Roy. What kind of things do you need to do for your lady on Valentine's Day?
What kind of things do I need?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of things do I need?
To do for your lady on Valentine's Day.
Oh.
I don't know who this is.
What kind of things do I need?
Don't forget.
What do you need to do for your lady on Valentine's Day?
You need to not forget.
Not forget and get her something.
Forget. Hey, you want to start off in the morning. Let's start off that morning. Hey, good morning, babe. Let me start off with let me bring you some juice first. And then you know what? If you don't have to work, why don't you just sit there? Let me start off with breakfast. Let me do something. Some of my specialty. Let me put some cooking skills on from there. And then after that, that's just setting the tempo for the day. After that, all you got to do is just let me do the rest because I will have a plan for that day that leads on to that evening.
He prepared for his gift. That's what that like.
Thank you.
I was gonna say that question reminded me of me and my lady, because we had this discussion about because she was like, I never dated a guy that wanted something for Valentine's Day. But I was like, I want something for Valentine's Day. So Valentine's Day is not a woman's holiday. It's a holiday of love.
Lover's holiday.
Yeah,
right?
It's a lover's holiday. It's like I'm doing something for you. I would like something done for me too.
Exactly. Okay. It's called 100-100.
Yeah.
That's a lover's day. I looked it up and everything. I was like, Valentine. Let me Google Valentine's Day. You're like, yo, see, this is a lover's day, not a female holiday. It's a lover's day. Like we celebrating loving on each other.
Exactly.
No, but that you're totally right on that. We have to see it that way so we can stay balanced, because when we start pushing off like, no, this is for you, to do, no, this is for you to do, I think it's easy for resentment to kind of start creeping in. And that tit for tat thing, it's like it gets exhausting, and then you like at the end of the day you're like, I can't stand you. Exactly. This ain't gonna work, and
the feeling.
Yeah, it will creep up on you.
Man.
And
before you know it, the respect dwindles, and all that's left is the love and the loyalty. It's like the sands in the hourglass. They just trickling out. True. It's just a matter of time.
True, very true. Okay, so we have another question. Where does more time come from? I think this is kind of about the responsibilities and stepping in, but I'm going to read the rest. Where does the time come from? There's only so many hours in a day. Like the man in the green, Roy, said, that's where the men step in and pick up some of the slack, either financially or physically. So I guess, where does that time come in? And I guess it's kind of, answering it, as well, that, somewhere you need some help, because a woman can't do it all, or the man can't do it all.
Right. You have to make the time. You got to set your priorities first, if there's first, whatever, getting the kids ready. So in the morning, hey, okay, let me go ahead and do this. And hey, I can drop them off on the way going, or you know what, look, while you going ahead and getting ready, let me even step it up a little bit more. Let me start to wash, and we can start to wash, like early that morning, get these kids ready like this, and get myself ready, say, okay. And so when we come home that evening, part of the job is done. You know, let's make it easy for the weekend because when Friday night comes, everybody kind of tired on a Friday night, and hey, if we can even make it like a little date out on a Friday night, it don't have to be big, hey. Going to Costco is a treat.
Right.
Right.
Mix it up.
Food is out, right?
Hey,
mix it up.
Hey, that's a date night for me. That's a date night for me.
Mix it up, whatever it takes. Whatever it takes.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yes, but you want to make that time. So that's a good point of, a lot of ladies kind of feel like, okay, if I'm doing all this work, at home with the kids, and let's just say I'm working as well, I am going to need a little bit of help, because if I'm working full time, taking care of the kids, taking care of the house, and you want me to be all kissing up on you and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's kind of.
She ain't gonna be feeling it.
And it's gonna be a slow decline.
Yeah.
Too. You're gonna wake up one day and realize it's been 6, 7, 8 months
right.
since
Oh, it ain't gonna be that long.
They had that.
Not for Roy, because Roy gonna get the popping. He gonna make sure throughout the day.
If it's 6 or 7 hours.
Every Tuesday.
4 times a week.
Let me get your diet. What do you eat? I need some of that.
Oh yeah. Staying in shape.
Right.
But it sounded like I was going straight for the actual deed, but I was alluding to the overall intimacy. It's been 6, 7 months since you went on a date.
Yeah.
It's been 6, 7 months since you had any real substantive conversation or discussed any goals you guys made, or any other outside noise that comes in. All this stuff, as Dee was saying earlier, it has to be discussed. The lines of communication got to be wide open, and if they don't, it's just gonna decline. It's really gradual. It can slide in there on you. All it takes is a couple of weeks and a couple of unexpected, mini traumatic little incidents. You know what I mean? And then right when all that's happening, bam, there's gonna be some icing on the cake. It's just life. We just really get unfocused so easily because you feel the weight, and that's where that partner comes in to help lift that weight up off of each other.
Right.
Get that 100% love. I love that. That's my favorite saying now. 100%. 100.
100.
Love that.
Yeah, you know what? I think you got to.
I give you credit when I use it. I give you credit. I will give you credit.
He dropped that one.
Yup, he dropped that one. Listen to Virtual First Dates.
I think you have to set a date. Set a day, whatever day. If it's not Friday, if it's not Saturday, or one day, where you just have to give that person your attention. I know as fellas, we slip sometimes, but you got to remember, Tuesday night, that's our night. Your boys call you, hey, I'm sorry, Kate, this night, Tuesday, this is just me and Island 80, kids over here. I'm glad my kids are grown. Hey, so it's like this. You and I, we got this.
Get your life back.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
There you go.
But that's interesting that you're speaking about that, and you're saying about the intimacy and missing out on that, not just sex, but the intimacy and feeling like you matter. So that's the reason why I say it's a good one, is because I've heard, I talk to everyone, and men, married, single, divorced, widow, all that, and I have heard from some men who step out or just disconnect because they say they don't feel wanted, loved, they haven't been getting any attention, they've literally been, neglected. And a lot of times, we have to see that, as women, when we take on these jobs and say, we're gonna climb the ladder and this and that, and we're, trying to work together as a partnership, that we make time for each other. I know a few pastors that are like, you don't skip date night. You gotta have it, because just like you said, 6, 8 months go by and you're like, When's the last time? Did we even go together?
Exactly. Let alone.
That's way too long.
In my house.
Oh my goodness. And it's so easy to happen when life distracts us. And sometimes those distractions are opportunistically positive. You know, you're trying to finish school or maybe preparing for a promotion on your job.
Right.
You know, maybe even you have to start caring for a sick relative. You know, you just never know what that monkey wrench or that curveball might be.
Right.
And if we aren't prepared to step up because we're too selfishly absorbed in the fact that we ain't getting none, or we ain't been on date night. You know what I mean? It's so easy to get unfocused. And that's what I fight. I fight the big picture. It's like, this is not about me. My interests are last. It's family first as a unit.
And I know one of the things that I recommend, so, you're not being neglected on anything, especially such as sex and date nights, that need to be addressed month to month. So what I have my clients do, I have them do sit downs. I recommend having a sit down. Because on those mob movies, they always having a sit down when it's time to discuss business. So that's what Give me 1 second.
Yeah, that's good. That's awesome.
Hold on, I'm working.
I love it, y'all.
Okay. It's so funny that we're having this conversation with heels behind you, Dick. There's some high heel shoes I see back there.
Yeah, my lady got all type of heels and Louis Vuitton purses.
Now that's commitment. That's commitment. That's commitment right there.
My stuff over here.
See what I'm saying?
You got your corner.
See what I'm saying?
my stuff over there in the corner, right there.
That brother's committed. He's committed, because all that little stuff like that don't mean nothing, man. You got to stay focused on the real. The real. I don't fight no more battles that ain't got nothing to do with heartstrings. I can move where I keep something. I can clean something more often. Whatever it takes to stay focused on the big picture. Yeah,
because I know with me, I like to straighten up.
So
I like everything.
OCD.
Yeah, I like everything, and everything has its place, and there's a place for everything. That's what I like. And so, but I say I don't necessarily like cleaning. I like straightening up. So if everything is clean, I can place everything in a certain area. So I'm like, hey, if you clean up, I can straighten up. You know what I'm saying? So you ain't got to worry about straightening up. I know where to put everything at.
Right.
Everything look nice.
Right.
You just clean up for me. Have it clean, smelling good, and I can
work. You won't mess it up.
Because I'm like that. Like I said, there's a place for everything, and it got to be there. So it's like I can tell you where everything is at, and I can be in a whole nother place. Like if I tell you to get something, it's gonna be right there where it's at. You're not gonna have to look and be like, oh, it wasn't there. I'm like, well, somebody must have stole it or moved it.
That's where I put it.
I know where I put it at.
I know where I put my stuff.
I know where I put it.
But I know, like I was saying about the sit down, I was like, I have every couple do a sit down every month so they can discuss what has went on within, those last 4 weeks. So if you done went 4 weeks without having sex, that sit down, you can say, hey, babe, we done went 4 weeks without having sex.
Let's discuss this.
And let's discuss this.
Debrief.
And then what can we do so this doesn't happen again next month?
Yeah, and then she might say, well, it's been 5 weeks since we went out on a date. Then you're like, oh, okay. All right. So y'all discuss that right then and there, month to month, instead of it being like six months.
Let's go eat. Let's go eat every night this week.
so those sit downs, I call it, that's relationship business.
Yes,
you have to have those. So if you don't have those, months can pass by, you ain't had sex, months can pass by, you ain't,
talked about that credit card bill.
Yeah, it's like you haven't talked about things that may be uncomfortable, especially if you don't like to talk about, especially if you don't like to communicate things that's uncomfortable. Those sit downs every month makes you get into it. It's like, it ain't no, hey, let's talk about it later because you're uncomfortable. It's like, no, this is the date. We set it aside. Let's talk about everything that has went on over these past 4 weeks that was uncomfortable, or whatever we deemed, that was necessary to talk about. Because it's like I said earlier, some things in relationships pop up where your spouse might be doing something and you're like, yo, where'd that come from? When it's time to have that sit down,
3 weeks ago.
You can say, hey, a few weeks ago, you started doing this. I don't really like that. I don't even know where that action came from.
And I can honestly say, D, that once a month for me might not be good enough because my memory is terrible. So the longer we go without talking about, you got to take notes, because the longer I go without having this conversation, the more it morphs into what I think happened. So my emotions start changing what actually happened. You know how they say it's two sides of every story. My story starts getting crazy. After about a month, 6 weeks, you just really should be trying to have to recall stuff from last June that you're trying to have a conversation about. So I couldn't agree more with you. That's an excellent idea if you stick to it.
Yeah, so I would definitely recommend writing it down.
Gotta write it down.
Because you don't want to be during the sit down forgetting, well, I think you said this. It's like, no, well, you said this, I didn't like this. So you have to be, right on point with the things that you don't like. So your spouse will know, okay, well, I noticed I did start doing that. Okay, I got you. I won't do that no more. You don't like that?
I know.
All right, cool.
And it could be something very simple too, why, it's going on. So that's good to have that clarity. Okay, we have another question from our audience. It says, why do you think, so why do you think it's socially acceptable for females to be masculine than for males to be feminine?
Ooh, that's a heck of a question.
Well,
I would like to jump in that one. Go ahead, Dick.
Go ahead.
I just recently heard a podcast, and I wish I could remember which one it was, but there was this big debate about a young lady. Oh, it's coming to me now. Oh, it was that guy. Who's the crazy guy that, say it again? What's the name?
Wait, you said crazy guy. What is it?
Kevin.
Oh, is it Kevin?
You talking about Kevin Samuel?
Oh, okay. Man. I was waiting for him to take his foot out his mouth having this conversation, but he wound up making me realize he never had it in his mouth.
Oh.
So there's a young lady, she was somewhere between 21 and 26, and she was explaining that she didn't need a man. She made enough money, and they were going back and forth for a little while with that, and then he murdered her, in my opinion, when he asked her, so if the power gets shut off next week for a whole week, do you think you still don't need a man for that whole week? And she was honest and admitted, yo, I'm gonna need a man. Especially after 3-4 days, I'm gonna need a man, And I just thought that was an interesting point, unless you have that wide array of experience as a woman working with tools and, being able to lift more than 90 pounds, I don't know, whatever the cutoff might be. But I'm sure there's women who really would need a man in that instance. But I think the point he was making is that ultimately, we all need each other. Actually, he said that men didn't need women, only to populate. But we're gonna leave Mr. Kevin alone. Yeah. But it was just that one interesting caveat that he threw up. And I'm sure that I haven't thought about it critically, and that, it's probably not that big of a deal if the power's off for you, especially if you have some support from, other women in this case, if you don't want to deal with men.
And I think it don't even have to really go like that deep. I think women, need men with multiple things are like small things around the house. Kind of like when you go over to a woman's house or you talk to a woman and her smoke alarm keep beeping. It's like, you don't necessarily need a man to do it, but a man will come in and recognize it and do it for you.
Listen, I'm saying I need a man, every 2 days. I'm like, this is why I need a man. This is why, so.
You know, when you look
For
at
the
when
women
you
who
look
say
at a
they
woman,
don't, I don't know.
But
look at a
I
woman's
mean,
car.
the question was two-part. If we flip this, and now we look at men being perceived at least to be more feminine in our modern age, how do women look at that? That's like something that I don't think I've ever had a conversation with a woman about, not a Black woman.
What do you mean? Say it again.
There seems to me,
Mhm.
as I've gotten older, there are very masculine men who have no problem wearing clothing that may suggest
Oh,
something other than the traditional masculine man he
okay,
is.
or like pink, or do it.
That kind
Yeah.
of stuff, you know, colors, you know.
Mhm.
So I'm just saying, like, and also, you know, going even further, you know, obviously there's much more respect for the LGBTQ. And I know I'm leaving a couple letters out. I don't mean any disrespect. I know that that's become, you know, like a part of everyday culture. And I'm sure we've all had a little bit of back and forth about how we feel about, especially if you were raised in a traditional Baptist, you know, household, you know, God-fearing household. There has to be a lot of trepidation and a little bit of reticence to even delve into that subject, right?
Yeah.
It's just taboo.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that that's the part, I mean, why she's asking this question about that, because it is something whereas women can, you know, toughen up and do what we say is man, you know, stuff. But when men do it, not saying all women, because a lot of us will appreciate it, you know, a man helping out in the kitchen and doing different things like that, or, you know, cooking or cleaning, things like that, but changing diapers, whatever. But as far as there are some women who are like, oh, I don't want my man doing all that. He needs to be outside somewhere, you know, and, you know, picking some stuff up. That's the problem now. And I do think that things have kind of changed, and it is getting blurred. You know, you got the men shopping in the women's store, or, you know, you're at the, you know, whatever store you're at, and it's like you can't really tell, is this the man's, you know, clothes, this woman's, and I don't know what it is anymore. We all wearing the same stuff now. So,
and you have to be respectful. You have to be respectful, but you also
you have to still have
you
your
have to come to
preferences
terms, don't you, at some point, especially if you're single. You have, you know, for a woman, you know, V, have you ever dated a man that was somewhat feminine or?
No.
Okay.
But you know, I have a big personality.
Like women
I'm very feminine, but I can be assertive, you know, as well. And in the way I was raised, I was kind of raised more with you know, military dad, you know, masculine men around me. And so for me, it just, even though I have things that I like, I'm typically more comfortable with men that are a little bit more assertive, a little more aggressive.
A little more masculine.
Yeah. Like I need
you
to
want
know,
muscles like Diana Ross?
No, listen, I need to know, if someone come and try us, I'm not gonna be the one fighting them off. You know what I mean? I need to know that he knows what to do with a gun, you know, that ain't nobody.
What if he don't? That's gotta be crazy. You with this man, y'all get into this drama. He ain't really doing what a man should do, at least in your opinion. Where does that relationship go after that?
Well, at least I'll say this. If you have a woman, I just think either way, if it's balanced. So if you have a woman and she's a little bit more masculine, but you have a man, he's a little bit more feminine, that can work for them. But if I'm, you know, feminine and my man is kind of feminine too, I'm like, what are we doing?
Get out the mirror.
Like, please get out the mirror. I don't need you thinking you're prettier than me.
What if you really love him? You know, what if you don't see it? I was gonna say, what if you didn't see it at first because he was too preoccupied with, you know, making sure that he was with you? I don't want to say he sent in his representative, but I guess that's what it comes down to. He didn't give you all of him until he got in, and now you're starting to see, or maybe you guys move in together.
Well, so what?
And now all of a sudden, you know, he using foot scrubs and, you know, he get pedicures.
He letting his true color show.
Going in there to get it. I'll do his feet. That's fine. But what I'm saying is that if you saying love and stuff like that, we got to make sure this
You
is
ain't gonna get there.
we're not gonna get there because we need to make sure that this is gonna work.
And I've always wondered about that. How do you get so far and not realize?
That's because people, they're not asking the question.
They don't want to know, right? They don't want to know.
Living a lie.
You know, women that are with men who are apparently at least bisexual, and we know the vice versa. And they seem to be, I know I have seen several couples that have been together 20 years, but I don't know. I'm 49, you know, I grew up very traditional. You know, if I came home with some silk or something wrapped around my neck, oh, I'm sure I would have got smacked. You know what I mean? By my mama, you know? Dad wasn't even there, but you know, mom was traditional. She's from Mississippi, you know, and even to this day, she hasn't really come around. She believes in that King James version first and foremost, you know, and how do you argue that?
I think the signs are there. You know, when you know the signs are there. If everybody else can see it, you know, and you can't see it, you know, are you madly in love? You know, like here's an example of Toni Morrison, or the writer, whatever, and she married the guy, and
his photos were very feminine.
Yeah, everybody can see, you know, like a $3 bill, you know. You know,
good,
and you did not see this? Oh no, you can even see that. Okay, let's even hit home a little bit. Like with let's say with a cousin or a child, and you see these feminine qualities, and no, you know, and you just, you know, ignore it. Everybody else knows it, and then when they do decide to come on out of the closet, don't act like you're so surprised. It was all there, you know. It was right there in your face.
You definitely know.
I think you had you chose not to accept it, you know. And
Well,
hey,
I think
we could apply that to just about every aspect of a marriage. You choose to not deal with that, at least not right now. Before you know it, it's been 20 years. It's a way of life.
Well, we definitely have to pay attention to those things, but I think what the question is more so, why is it acceptable for women to kind of do those things? And, you know, it's a double standard, but not a male. Maybe he's not, we jumped kind of the gun, you know, that he was, you know, a homosexual just because he's doing
and it
things
may not be.
that are what would be considered feminine.
Exactly.
And he might just love to bake.
Exactly.
He might like flowers.
Exactly.
So Daonn, kind of speak on that.
Or he may not be ready to have a conversation.
Or that.
Well, I know.
Some people
I don't think it's acceptable for a woman to be masculine.
Okay.
You know, it's just because I'm looking at it more as relationships. And when I look at it as relationships, I don't want a masculine woman. So I don't think that that's okay for a relationship. Now, if you are, or if you displaying masculine traits as a woman and you get a man that's kind of more feminine, that's a balance.
Right.
But if you want if you want an alpha man, he's
the roles and switch. It can still work.
It can, because
you know,
the energy
has to be a balance.
It's in there.
So you know, if there's a more masculine woman and a feminine guy, that's a balance. But if I'm a masculine man, I don't want a woman that's masculine as well, because we're gonna bump heads all the time.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So that relationship is not gonna work. And I want to believe that most men are masculine, so they wouldn't want a masculine woman coming in trying to be the leader, because I'm like, you can't lead the leader. Like if I'm coming in being the leader,
you heard of SNL, D?
You know, it's like
a lot of men like to be dominated out here now.
Yeah, that's true.
Not just sexually. I use that as a segue. But you know, women, a lot of men, really and truly, how many do we know? How many men can you think about right now that are sitting at home on the couch while their wife or significant others at work? We can all think of one or two. We can all think of one or two right now. I know I can think of about four. You know, and that's where I draw my line
And that happens. That happens a lot.
Yeah, I don't know how that happens. I don't know, but I see it a lot. And I think you just get spoiled by your mama, and then you go find a woman to spoil you like your mama did.
Yeah.
That would be my, at a glance.
But that domination, so you talking about a lot of men like to be dominated.
A lot of men like to be dominated.
And there's been conversations about it, and it ain't for me. I want my man to want to be the masculine one.
And I want to say some of those guys, that's at home doing nothing. Their woman is taking care of all the bills. They at home playing video games. Yeah. Some of those guys have the nerve to believe in gender roles to the point where
they don't want to be treated like a king.
Say that.
Yeah, they don't
right there. Say
that. They don't want to clean the house because they think that's a woman's. It's like, bro, you at home all day while your woman working. You better wash them dishes. You better wash them clothes, fold them clothes up, have them clothes smelling good. You better clean and straighten up. It's like, get off the video game.
What's for dinner, baby?
But see, that's where those monthly conversations come in, D. That's where that monthly conversation where you had the opportunity to stay. It seems like when we together, it's almost like you want to be the woman, and I'm comfortable with that because I want to be the woman, and then that's where the compromise can be worked out at, or whatever beyond that.
Way, being able to say that in a respectful way, because if you get to the point where you're so fed up, by the time you have that conversation, it may be some disrespect coming there, like you over here thinking you the queen of this house, and then then you're gonna kind of have a little bit of pushback, like you trying me. So those monthly conversations are important. We have another question. Monique is just making a statement here. She's saying y'all sound different from the perspective of many men today that they share today. The tone tends to be more negative. How can we infuse some more of this positive energy about love in our community? Well, that's the point of this show, definitely.
Say that.
And my perspective is showcasing more of Black men that are giving a positive outlook and not negative, not one-sided, saying, well, this is what women can do to change and to make things better. It's all on them. It's just like, well, no, if you want to be with a Black woman and she wants to be with a Black man, it sounds like if we got a problem, it's our problem, and so we have to work together to get that, resolved. And if you don't see it as no problem, then that's probably these guys, that she's speaking of, because they don't see the problem. So it's just gonna carry on. It's gonna be negative, one-sided, and do for me, do for me. So, but what do you guys have to say about that? How can we, get more of this positive energy out there?
Well,
with this show, with
exactly
a million V's out here, somebody gonna listen. So at some point, someone's gonna have to say, "Wow, that resonates," and let me be reflectively honest with myself for a minute, and maybe that's why I feel the way I feel. Sometimes we don't even know why we feel the way we feel. We have to explore what's going on a regular basis. And you will grow disrespect and almost what's the word? Resentment. Yeah. Resentment. And once you become resentful, that's hard to fix. Yeah. That's hard to fix.
It's hard to recover from.
It's hard to recover from that. Big time. Big time.
Yeah. Definitely. What do you think, Roy?
Like with this here, you got 3 strong heterosexual males, and we got the same opinion on how we were raised. Hey, I don't want no woman trying to act like a male and no. Yeah. So it ain't gonna work with me, straight up, because I'm gonna say some things that she ain't gonna like. I'm gonna be telling the truth. I ain't trying to hurt your feelings, but this is how I feel, and this is how I was raised. You can say your opinion, and I'm gonna say mine. I'm gonna say it as
respectfully as possible.
But there's going to be that time it's just going to come on out and up.
Right.
Oops, there it is. That's how,
And women, even though a lot of times they think that women don't like it, we do. We don't want a man that we can run over. And so, a lot of times we're like, we need someone to kind of get us straight because we know we can, get a little crazy, take it too far.
That's that 100%. That's that 100%. But it has to come from a place of love, from a place of responsibility and respect, not from selfishness.
Yeah.
Not from selfishness, not because that's something that you don't approve. You don't like the image that puts the light it puts you in. You know what I mean? But sometimes, we have no clue. And we need to act like we have no clue. And just kind of sit back, and just kind of learn something, right?
Yep. And
so I have a couple more questions here. And we'll probably end up touching back on this because it connects to our last question. Okay, so as far as how do you feel about women leading?
Leading as far as what?
Leading, not necessarily. Well, I mean, I guess you can say leading in any kind of way, but leading like maybe in leadership,
in place of the man.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You know what?
And while she's getting, she's leading, and then maybe promotions and things like that, she's climbing the ladder. Like, how do you feel about that? Like, how does that affect, the home? Because sometimes, she may start off in a position and then start getting promotions, and then she's in leadership and bossing everyone at work. And then maybe not know how to turn that off.
Oh, no.
Or, things like that. So
no, when she comes home, hey, if she's out there in the corporate world and she's laying all the law down, this and that, okay, that's fine. Now, when you come home, you're doing a husband and wife thing, I'm sure we're gonna cross paths, what? Oh no. We behind closed doors. This is how this works here. That's that strong male part. That ain't that central man. That's kind of soft. No.
And I really would love if we had that representation right now. I would love to hear. I've never had a conversation, especially in the round like this, where I've got the perspective. I watch social media, but I've never heard anyone really explain their being okay with the fact that, let's be honest, gender roles are just as prevalent now as they were with the baby boomers, right? Most of us, are raised where the man worked, the woman work now in our generation, but the man is still the leader of the household. He take out the garbage and he protects, So I would love to hear how you turn on, the masculinity when you need it. You know what I mean? When you're naturally feminine, but you can turn that masculinity on. I'm sure that has to be the case with some relationships.
Sometimes I think when a woman says she's turning her masculinity on, it's kind of like, it seems like it's always in a negative way. It's like, okay, I'm gonna boss you around. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. You can't tell me nothing. It's like, and depending on that guy, he's not having that.
Yeah.
And that's what makes a lot of relationships not work. Because that's when a woman starts turning on her masculinity, that means she's being disrespectful to a degree as well. Because
is that you're saying more so? Are you thinking that that's how it's perceived, by men or by women when she's saying that I'm leaning more to my masculine, side?
Leading
more.
Leading aggressively.
No, leaning. So what I'm saying with that, to me, I understand, with my job, I work in human resources, and for a long time, I was kind of leading, passively. I was, I'm bubbly, I like people, and so I was being nice. And then I found out really quick, when you're leading, people, you have to kind of, as a woman, you have to kind of pull from the masculine side a little bit, so that you can kind of keep things in order. So they kind of, I guess, go hand in hand. but I got burned a couple of times, and I'm like, oh shoot, yeah, like you can't think that I'm your friend. I can be friendly, but I can't be your friend, and I kind of have to lay down the law a little bit because I'm in leadership, and so that's what I mean. If I have to pull from the masculine side and be like, what they would say is assertive, and not taking no, stuff saying, no, this is what it's going to be,
Now, your significant other should respect that, right? He should respect that. That's what you own right now. Right. And let me back up and play the back, right? While you're in that mode.
Yeah, I think that's fine. A woman, and I don't want to say necessarily being masculine at work with leading, but whatever she needs to do to get the job done as a leader at her job, get that done. If you feel like you being a woman, you need to tap into a little masculinity, do that to get the job done. But it's like when you come home, don't bring that to the house. I'm the leader at the house. When you come home, relax. I got you. Like, you've been out here fighting and leading all day long. Yeah. You come to me, I got you.
She has to remember to be humble.
And that's where a man can come in as well and be nurturing to his woman. It's like, baby, you've been out there working all day, had your heels on, being a boss. Come to the crib, I'll massage your feet. You know what I'm saying? I got you. You know what I'm saying? I'll rub your body down, make sure you in the bed nice. I got you. I'm gonna take care of you.
Yeah, it's that safe space when you're able to come home and just not, I always say I need to work at least part-time. If I get married, I gotta work part-time because I'm a creative, type, and I am, naturally a leader. So I need to be able to go boss them and then come home and be, submissive and be girly and, flick my hair, look good, cook a little food, and just be like, what you need, baby? That kind of thing. And it would be nice, a little foot rub, because that puts me right back into that space of being
foot rub, body rub,
natural roll.
Yeah,
that'll stop you from going months.
What was that?
What was that?
That foot rub and that body rub when she get home from bossing everybody else around, will stop you from going months without intimacy.
Say that.
You better preach.
Say that. All them chakras is connected to other things. It's connected to other things. Before you know it, you touch your feet, but you touch your soul too.
Yeah. You appreciate that.
Okay.
You get good at it.
So I got a funny one for y'all real quick. So we're doing all this talk about, things changing and women being a little bit more modern, or everyone being a little bit more modern and open. So how do y'all gentlemen feel about a woman proposing to her man?
Wait. You know what? With that,
proposing what?
Proposing marriage? Wait.
A wedding proposal. She get down on one knee and saying, you know what? You're the love of my life, Big Daddy.
You know what? I'm having a hard time. Wait.
Come on,
First of all, am I taking her name?
Yeah.
You're gonna propose? That's fine. That's fine and dandy. But I'm not going to change to Miss Smith, No, I need the one to do that, because, I don't care. I don't mind. Let's say, if you want to keep your maiden name, fine. But there better be a slash in that.
Exactly.
It got to be some type of slash. You can keep that name. I don't mind.
Okay.
But when that other, someone up, Mrs. Webster or whatever, go ahead and answer that.
Where's it coming from? That would be, I think my first question is this consistent? Is this how the relationship has been throughout?
Through dating, you're saying, has she been a little bit more?
Always been aggressive like that, right? Okay. Or is it coming out of desperation, which is what I've seen more, where women, go buy their own wedding ring, and give it to the dude to put on their finger. I've seen this more than 3 times.
My soul is hurting.
Oh my goodness, So I would hope that it's coming from a place of comfort and not desperation. Not just
Yeah,
capricious.
yeah.
Not just-
Because if you've been dating someone that's a little bit more aggressive or forward, we'll say forward.
Then no one will be shocked.
Then you won't be shocked.
Everyone that knows you guys won't be shocked.
Right. She proposed to me.
She proposed to him.
Yeah, but you
I know.
I gotta say,
I
look,
definitely don't agree with that. You know,
Okay.
But you know,
and
Seems
even,
like it ain't happening.
even beforehand, though, you know when your woman wants to be married. So you had that conversation even before. It's like, hey, don't propose to me. I know you want to be married. I want to be married to you too. Don't propose to me. Just I'm gonna propose to you, and just wait during that time. Because I also believe that there's a time frame as well.
Yeah.
So that I go by. And if you don't know that you want to marry a woman, basically within the first 6 months, you know that if you want to marry a woman or not.
Okay.
But if you ain't put a ring on that woman's finger at the 1 to 2 year mark at least, it's kind of like, yo, what you doing?
Especially when you start pushing 40 and over.
Yeah, it's like
What's really going on?
It's like at the 2 year mark, y'all need to be engaged. If not,
Hey,
like,
D,
what you doing?
what if she putting like a 2-carat VVS quality wedding band, all diamonds all the way around? We talking like, I don't know, 2.79 carats.
no,
Does that change anything?
no, you have to
Where it's
remember.
just blinging.
No,
You know what I mean?
No, she still has to remember that, hey, I'm wearing the pants, not the panties. You know? Simple as
like-
that.
it's like-
No, I
She
don't care how
can
big
go
it
out and
is.
get a ring. She can go out and get a ring all she want to, but that don't mean you putting it on my finger like that.
Right.
Like, I ain't about to hear you get down on your knees
Man,
opposed to me.
I
Like,
don't
nah.
know how to respond to that.
And even if you tried it, I'd say, no, you better get up. Like, I'm gonna get you up. Like, hey, this ain't the way this gonna go.
I ain't gonna do this.
I'm about to get you up.
That's good to know and to hear from you gentlemen, because I've been seeing that. There was actually a post just maybe a couple of days ago, and the woman, she was proposing to her man down on one knee on the beach, and I'm like, that just makes me crazy.
I just done a story post on my IG. And I asked, I was like, ladies, would you do this to the love of your life? And there was a woman on the beach proposing and pregnant.
That's what it was. Yeah, okay, that's what I seen too.
Yeah, and I think 88% of women said they wouldn't, but like 12% they wouldn't do it, but 12% would.
Wow.
Yeah, that's this new stuff. But she's pregnant. She's pregnant. And she's proposing to you. So how did we get to this point where we're making babies and you still ain't proposed to me?
I don't know.
I gotta
about that one.
I mean, can't have no daddy. I mean, I don't know.
As long as he said, yeah, she was cool. I guess. The only problem I would have with the whole concept is that when a man proposes to a woman, it's got to be a big diamond. It has to be 3 months salary or whatever. So if she gonna do it, I want diamonds all the way around the ring. I want almost 3 carats. I want it to blind everybody when you pull it out. You know, I think if you're gonna do it like a G, right? I mean, don't get no gold band put on a man finger. Y'all ain't married yet. You know what I'm saying? Logistics are all screwed up, right?
Well, I know after the fact, when a man proposed to a woman, he give her that diamond ring. I like diamonds too. Like I want a ring with diamonds in it. I don't want just that little black rubber band ring or the little.
That's why they get lost.
Like nah, I don't.
That's why they get lost. You don't care nothing about it. It didn't cost nothing. You know?
Yeah.
But
it's
boy, you give me I'll take a 1.7 carat. My wife knows. And hopefully
give me something nice
soon.
I gotta have something nice too.
Yeah, man. We want it all.
So what?
100% each way.
We have a question coming from inside the home. What is your question, Ms. Logan?
My question is, speaking on this here topic,
is
that what is the proposal about? Because in a business contract, when you write a proposal, you're saying what you're gonna do for me and how you gonna handle the business and how you gonna operate this business that we're getting ready to approach, this union. So when you somebody's getting down on one knee and just going with whatever's going on in the world now.
Uh-huh.
What's behind it? Do you really understand what a proposal is about? Do you understand what a legal contract, because marriage is a legal binding contract supposedly unto death.
Right.
But we know it's not unto death. It may be a mental death, but that's what it's supposed to be. So a man, when he proposed to me,
he knows what he's proposing.
Yeah,
he's proposing to take care of you.
Right.
So is that woman proposing to take care of that man?
And I'm
possible,
sure that's not
and how? And how?
Yeah, I'm sure that's not the case. I'm sure it's the case that she's proposing because she's ready to be married, and she's like tired of waiting on.
Well, my point is that know what you're doing, know what you're talking about.
Yes. No, that's a good point. I never thought about that. I've just been completely opposed to it, and so, but that's a good point to raise is when you're down on one knee as a woman. And you're asking your man to marry, what is it that you're proposing to him? What is it that you're saying?
Well, I think that's just period. Like no matter who proposes, you still have things to do within the marriage. Yeah. So it don't matter who proposes to who. You know, there's that doesn't change the marriage dynamic. Because I do believe in marriage benefits. Okay. You know, once you get married, you get these benefits. So no matter who proposes, you know, because I believe children should be a marriage benefit. So at this point, it's like no matter who proposes, it's like, okay, now we can start having children together.
Right.
Another benefit is we can start putting property in our name.
Yeah.
You know, that's a marriage benefit. It's like, okay, we getting married now. Now we can start looking into putting property in each other's name.
Right, investing and
taking advantage of all the stuff that's for married people.
Right.
Yeah,
right. There are a lot of benefits that come with that.
You don't do that just in a relationship.
Right.
You don't have children just in a relationship. You don't have, you know, contracts with landlords or a co-signer on a vehicle and you just in a relationship. You know what I'm saying? Now I do understand people do that, but at least make sure that this person is going to marry you or something like
is A1.
Y'all have to be on the same page. If y'all not married yet, it has to be soon or a proposal or something.
Engaged. Yes, because that is happening. We got a lot of ladies in the comments saying, I am not proposing to the man.
Yeah.
But don't do that. There are a lot of, couples that are in relationships. They live together and they have businesses and different things, together. And it's just like, if you're doing all this, why are you not getting married? If the plan is to get married, if you're saying we're going to just be life partners, then that's another thing because you guys have already started that journey. But to say, eventually we're going to get married, but we got kids, we live together, we got businesses.
Priorities.
It's like, I don't know what. I don't understand the line.
Yeah, that's great.
So I know that we were talking about what do we do? One of the ladies said in the comments, she was saying that she, appreciated this energy from these, from you all, strong Black men. And it's not the same thing that we're hearing out in the world. It's a little crazy out there. So do you guys think that that's the breakdown? What is the breakdown of what's gotten us here, this disconnect between, Black men and Black women? Do you think it's leaning towards the gender roles that there's, because more women are, getting into the workforce? You believe it's just a disconnect of understanding each other or not knowing, how to communicate or not knowing what's on your mind and what's on theirs? What would you say?
All the above.
Yeah.
Especially now what you can date online. Are you really?
Swipe.
Are you really, are you looking at that seriously? Some people may, I'm sure, but a lot of people don't, And if you're with somebody that's not serious about you and you don't realize, how sad is that?
Yeah.
I don't know. You have to understand what each other wants are as well. A woman has to understand what a man wants. A man has to understand what a woman wants. And I know a lot of times when, like these days, when you get together and you start talking what a man wants or what a woman wants, there's a lot of disconnect. It's like, why you want that? Why this? Why that? And it's like, and then some people will try to shame you for the things that you want. Well, a real man wouldn't want that, or a real woman wouldn't want that. It's like, how are you saying that?
It's the manipulation.
Especially as a man, it's like, I'm a man and I'm telling you what men want.
Right.
How are you going to say a real man wouldn't want that?
Right.
Like, why are you trying to shame him for the things that he's telling you that most men want?
Or vice versa, right?
Yeah.
How many men are shaming their wives or their girlfriends right now because of what they're putting on their way out to a gathering or whatever they're going out to do, out without their husband, you know what I mean? Or even with them. And we just get to the point sometimes where we can't stay ahead of our own, insecurity. Once we're insecure, we have to accept that part of our persona and get in front of that.
Well, do the work, do the work. Because it's not really your partner's problem when it is, your own insecurity. Of course, you can support them on their journey as they get the help that they need, but yeah, definitely. I mean, as a lady, I've noticed this before. I didn't really catch it, and I was kind of like, I would kind of fall for it. But the manipulation, how you're talking about the shame and vice versa, coming towards, a lady, it's like, oh, well, I would have thought, you would do this and that, but I guess that's just me. And then when you hear that as a woman, because innately we do look for validation through, from men, we're like, oh shoot, what is that? What does that say about me? Maybe I'm not, acting like a real woman, and then we get all, we start changing ourselves, and then we're manipulating to something that we don't really want. And it was just like, no, I was sure about what I said. In my Nene voice, I said what I said. But
say what I said.
That's what I said.
I definitely believe that we need to understand what each other want, not shame each other for our wants.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we need to be realistic with our wants as well. You can't say you want this, but you're not in a range to get it.
You sound like Kevin.
But that's one thing. I mean, even though I'm not the biggest fan or a fan at all of Kevin Samuels, there are a lot of things that I agree with. My perspective is just, the way that you're delivering it. You're not necessarily a actual relationship coach or certified in that. You do something else, and that's fine. A lot of times we are pushed into different platforms, and we never know where it is where it's going to take us, or where God, leads us, or where, your coworkers or someone else leads you.
Right.
But it's the delivery behind it.
Those messages have got to be.
And keeping your composure, but you do have to be realistic. That's one thing that I agree with. Is he speaks about people wanting these things, and you're saying you want a 6-figure man, but realistically speaking, you want a Black man in America, and most of the median is 42,000. So if you're not okay, if you're not okay with that, then if you're saying I want X, Y, and Z, you want this man that falls in this 10%, then you need to figure out, well, what does he want? Because he's going to be the one picking, because he's in the 10%. You ain't. There's a lot of Black women who are making a lot of money. That you're not a unicorn at that point. And he's not looking at your money because he's a man, he's in position, he got money. Well, that's not anything that's a value for him to say, let me come run after this one. She balling out of control. It's like, I'm balling. I'm supposed to be taking care of you. What's going to happen is I need you to be a 10, I need you to be my dream, because I work hard for this dream. What I mean?
Many men are willing to pay for that 10.
And that's true. And maybe you don't even want that.
I definitely ain't never been interested in that.
Right. But a lot of times you find out you don't even really want that. You just think you want that because someone told you, well, if you're making this, then they should be making this. And it's just like, I don't think that that's, the case, but this is my take on it. If you're with a man and he's kind of unhappy with you making more money, because that was something I was going to touch on too, is some men felt comfortable about their wives making more money than them.
I almost took that personal, because we know each other. It's like,
but
is she talking about me personally?
No, oh no.
She's talking about me.
I don't know your business like that.
That's right.
Yeah. But my take is, if I'm a millionaire and you making, I don't know, 50,000 or 90,000, right? Someone's like, no, you need to make 1 million. What we're gonna do is, if it matters that much, we're gonna invest your whole salary, because we can live off of my
There you
million.
go.
We're gonna invest your whole salary
Yep,
of multiple, multiple areas,
Mhm.
and you're gonna be a millionaire.
We're gonna
So
diversify a portfolio.
exactly.
You know, stick to the 5-year plan.
Yeah, a lot of times we have to be open to say we're going to work with our men. If you're hardworking and ambitious, and this man is driven, y'all not going to be broke. If that man got to work 3 jobs, he's going to do it.
Right.
So don't sleep on that blue collar.
Right.
Don't sleep on it.
I have
Put that work in.
I have
all
a
the
little
way
philosophy.
around.
Okay.
I have a little philosophy on that as well, because I know when I was younger, I used to think that, like, I always want to make more money than my woman. I always thought that. But then as I got older, and then I started looking at other relationships, I started getting into coaching and things like that. I was like, well, I see a lot of women only staying with men because he making a lot of money and they can't afford to really leave. So I started thinking, I was like, well, to kind of make sure that I'm being a great dude like I think I am, if I date a woman that makes more money than me, the reason that she's staying with me is because I'm actually a good dude, and it's not because she can't leave because I'm paying all the bills or majority of the bills,
Right.
or whatever the case may be. It's like she's staying with me for me.
She don't need you, she wants you.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you're coming into the relationship self-sufficient, first you're coming in there whole, now with your ragged little 50%, creeping up in this relationship, like, sit down with that.
We live and learn.
We
live and learn.
And I definitely believe you gotta be, as a man, you gotta be really secure in yourself.
Yeah.
To even
it get tough.
That
It
makes
get
more
tough.
money than you.
Since I've been with my wife, man, she's probably quadrupled herself.
Yeah.
Literally in 8 years.
And that's the setup.
There was some dips,
in America.
and I was there for the dips. I was proud to be able to fill in the gap. When she had to make sacrifices, I was able to fill in. I don't know if I'd be able to fill in these days right now, the way my money's set up. But there was a time back then that she had my back then, she's got my back now. And she's allowed me, not to have the normal stress of, I got to go out here and, find me a 6-figure job tomorrow. She's allowed me to have multiple income streams, some more than others. And, I tried some everything, but, ultimately I had to go back and get a 9-to-5. I mean, I'm semi-retired, but to live to a level where I could look at myself in the mirror and feel confident and feel like, okay, my wife knows what my worth is. She knows what my hustle is about. I went back and got another full-time job after I retired. So,
there's a lot of women out here, they doing their thing, they hustling, they bosses. And I know in a lot of relationships, that blue collar working man, that's making maybe 60 grand a year, then putting in some overtime to make another 15. Like, he's telling his woman, hey, I got you right now. You can do a part-time job, go to school. And then, 5 to 10 years later, she's making 150K.
Right.
And now he's backing down off of his overtime all the time. He might be at 70K, but she at 150 and can go up to 250. And it's like, hey, like,
you can spend time with each other, what I mean? That kind of alleviates that when you don't have all those pressures, like, wait, I need a Birkin bag every week. Like, that's crazy. It's insane. And you're going to have to work, harder, to live up to that and to maintain that lifestyle. And, that means you might sacrifice, the time, your relationship with each other.
2020 showed us all that. I'm sure there's plenty of husbands who lost their income. Wives' income shot through the roof because they were in different parts of the economy. They were working in different fields.
Right.
So I'm sure it's somebody right now having to, take all the egg off their face, because men sometimes just so maturely, chauvinistically inclined that we can't even imagine our woman making more money than us, having to travel more than us, having, the ability to do things without anything to do with your income, like you talk about me. Like she got plenty enough money to take care of all the bills and got plenty change left.
Right.
So, that's something that I had to adjust to, but it ended up inspiring me. It ended up inspiring me. So, and I think I've inspired her through my actions. It just keeps going back and forth. She takes on a new venture, it inspires me. I take a new venture on, inspires her. And it just keeps going, that circular energy.
Yeah, and like I was saying, you definitely, as a man, you have to be secure in yourself.
You got
let your ego and your pride get in the way. You got to support your lady. And, because if you don't, that can end the relationship.
Big time.
So
Big time.
As a man, definitely, you got to be secure in yourself and push your pride and ego to the side.
Especially when she going to get some real money. Man, what you talking about?
I mean,
Me and my wife don't never argue about her cryptocurrency investments because she been making bread. Well, I stayed out of it, and guess what? She didn't need it. I ain't know nothing about it no way. I'm learning from her.
That's right. Okay, so I'm gonna do one more question, and then I'm gonna end it with you guys letting all the ladies know basically, just your last thoughts on the topic, or just whatever it is you want to let the audience know who's listening. I mean, most of us are trying to aspiring to healthy relationships, marriage, want to marry a Black man eventually, or at least have a life partner. So want to have you guys speak to that. But this last question, I think, so it says, how do we get to this place? I think I'm reading it too late. And most importantly, or desperately, how do we get back to the idea of teamwork and partnership? Okay, so I was able to get into that. So I guess we can kind of touch on that, and let that be your last words to.
That's a very good segue into your last point. Mine is real simple. You really have to be committed. There's no way you can commit to 2 or 3 dudes, or vice versa. If a woman is looking for a man and she's seriously interested in finding a man, I think step 1 is probably going to be to ask yourself what you're looking at, because sometimes that gets us all in trouble looking in the wrong places, But I know for me, on the outside looking in, I can look back and honestly say that I wasn't ready before. And I'm sure that there's more than one woman somewhere on planet Earth right now that still hate my guts after all these years. There's nothing I can do about that. But I would suggest to women that if you think this dude ain't ready, if he's giving you the vibe that he ain't ready, he probably ain't ready. Yeah. And you need to give him a little more rope to hang himself. Don't save him from himself, because he don't want to be saved. He don't want to be saved. I didn't want to be saved. I was out there in them streets with a full all black beard, full head of hair. You couldn't tell me nothing.
Yeah.
And look how time changes now. You gotta value a real one, But don't settle. Don't settle, ladies. Don't settle. Do not settle. Don't do it. It's not almost ever gonna work out in your advantage.
That's good advice. Okay, and so I'll let you take it, Roy, and then we'll close out with that.
Okay. Well, first of all, most of all, this had to do with being married. Now, coming from a single guy perspective, one thing you have to look at, when you see all this, this money, this person, guy or female, is working, you have to remember, all that glitters is not gold. Okay, that's because you see that there's issue. There's a reason why this person doesn't have somebody, and you just have to remember that. And then when you do find that one person that is willing, that got your back, and you got that commitment, and that's going to be so much better. But another thing you also have to remember is compromise. You have to be willing to compromise to move forward, as a couple. Okay, that is big. Compromise.
Teamwork.
Keep yourself humble, in this. you know,
Mhm.
and you'll get it. You will know, you know, when you're with this person, are they willing to compromise? You know, and it's like, wow, if they are. It's like, okay, hey, you know, this could be the one. That loyalty. Oh, that's huge with the guys. Okay,
Yeah.
that loyalty.
Y'all was dropping some gems. Y'all was definitely dropping some gems. And so, Dan, you want to, were you good?
No. Yeah, I can go on, but you know, we ain't got enough time for that. Because all this was for the marriage. You know, we can do single time, another time.
Right.
You know?
Well, it's for the singles. We are all learning. I'm, you know, single, and I'm learning from. We learn from all of you.
It all applies,
you know?
right?
Yeah, it does.
It all applies.
Because we're trying to
we
get
could be
where you've
switched
been.
this time next year.
Exactly.
I could be single because
Exactly.
my wife got time to be broke. And V might venture out and find that one vibe that turns into something.
That's
so,
what we manifested.
Man, what you say?
So Daonn, so I'm gonna read the question again, and then you can add whatever it is that you like to what has already been said. But how do we get back to the idea of teamwork and partnership?
Okay, getting back to teamwork and partnership, I truly believe it all starts from the very beginning. And teamwork and partnership comes from two people that desire to be with each other. That's going to make the best team, the best teamwork. So I always say, be with somebody that desires to be with you and that you desire to be with. And you know when a person desires to be with you, because when you desire to be with someone, you act a certain way. So I'm not saying that person is going to necessarily act the same way toward you, but it's going to be similar. Right. So the same way you thinking about them, the same way you calling them, texting them, that should be reciprocated. And it will be reciprocated when you with somebody that truly desires you. And the first thing that you need to do is learn how to date. And you date with standards. You got to have standards. What are your standards? My standard is to date somebody that wants to be married. So you need to ask those questions. Why are you dating? What you're dating for? If that person says anything outside of I'm dating for marriage, then you cut them off, no matter how good they look, no matter how good they smell.
Much money.
No matter how much money they make, you have to cut that person off because you're dating with standards. And dating, men, we know this. Dating is dating multiple people. I know a lot of women don't like to date multiple people. They like to date one at a time and this and the third, but you have to get to know people. And dating don't mean sex. Let me put that out there. So you're dating, getting to know people, and you're dating with standards, and you putting your standards out there. Okay. What are you dating for? You're dating for marriage. Do you have a car? Do you have a place to stay? Like, don't date nobody that's not meeting your standards.
Right. It's like, how are we gonna do this dating?
And you living in your car.
Right. You ain't even got tomorrow figured out.
And it's like you don't have a job right now. It's like they're not up to your standards, so don't date them. And then, but once you find somebody that's up to your standards, then you can take that person into the exclusively dating phase, meaning that I'm only dating you. Me and you are only dating each other. So I'm trying to see, will you comply with my boundaries? So now I'm exclusively dating you, which means I'm only dating you. Now I'm putting my boundaries on the table. Okay. How many male friends or female friends do you have? I don't believe in men and women being friends like that going into a relationship. You can't be kicking it with the opposite sex like that. How do you feel about that? That's where those uncomfortable conversations come in. When you argue, do you communicate? Do you hang up in my face? Are you going to do that? Are you going to curse me out when you're angry? I don't go for that. You put your boundaries out there. And once you figure out that a person, is going to respect your boundaries, then you can be like, okay, now let's be in this relationship. And then that's when you start building that partnership and working toward a marriage, because you know that you're with somebody that loves you and that is desiring to be with you and that's willing to, that met your standards and that is willing to, not cross your boundaries. Amen. That's all you're looking for with somebody. Amen. So that's what creates the best partnerships. That's the way you build, because you have to go through a process with someone before you just jump right into something and think that the partnership is going to be all good.
Right. No, that is
Well stated.
well stated.
Well stated.
Well, I am so excited about how this turned out. I think there was a lot of gems that were, dropped this evening, and we all can learn from it. It's important to me. I mean, I started this thing, or even the idea of getting involved in it to help, kind of repair, the Black, household and relationships. And I started with dates, live dates. And I realized through doing the dates, interviewing, men and women, that there's some work that we have to do. There's some healing that needs to be done. There's some conversations that need to be had so that we have a better understanding of each other so we can do this relationship. If you don't know what you're doing and otherwise you're just out here in a relationship and creating menaces to society. That's what I'd say.
Both ways.
Both ways.
Because you scorn a woman long enough, she become a menace to society too.
Exactly. And then
we all can only take so much.
Right. And then you factor those children, into the equation. And I mean, we see it. We all see it. Our community is hurting, and it's just like, all right, so what are we gonna do? I'm about resolution. So I'm like, what are we gonna do? I'm gonna call everybody who's about resolutions and trying, their best to do it right. We're not perfect, but we out here trying to do it right. And maybe it takes me as a woman speaking to other women, telling them, what we need to do, what we have to work on, and be each other's support, and not condoning just terrible behavior with your relationship and saying, yeah girl, well he did this, you need to just leave him. It's just like, well, no, I mean, if it's something that you guys can work out and talk through, then that needs to be done, so we're not hurting these children. And then the brothers, y'all, I mean, you guys are great men, just great men speaking to other young brothers, because a lot of people are growing up and they don't have the parents, they don't have the leadership, or they're being raised off of social media and the TV. So if they get their advice just from random posts on the internet,
that's what it is. That's what it is, and that's what it's going to be, a very random relationships.
We're going to continue to suffer. So anyways, but I want to thank you all for joining us this evening on the show, episode 4. And I appreciate you guys, and to the audience, the V1D audience, as well as the HBCU Lounge Network. We appreciate you guys, and thanks for coming out, and until next time.
Keep it in your pants if she can't dance with you with the ring on.
Okay. Good night, y'all.